Oh, hello. I am Sabrina with Supporting World Hope, and this is my blog summary. For those that do not know, I post a blog weekly every Thursday, and it comes out about 9 o'clock in the morning. And if you're in my group, you actually get it early. You get it the night before. So keep that in mind, nonprofit professional exchange, if you want to join my group. But it does come out in the morning at 9 a.m. on Facebook and on LinkedIn. But I realize like nonprofit professionals are extremely busy. That's nonprofit professionals and their board members. And so I like to do these summaries because if you don't have time to read it, that is perfectly fine. I kind of give you a quick synopsis and a recap here. And if you want to go get more detail on the topic, you can actually go into my blog at supportingworldhope.com. So I wrote about board roles and responsibilities. And I wrote about this because I get this question a lot. I actually get asked to train on this topic a lot because people secure people for their board and then they don't provide them any training. And they don't provide them with any job description or anything. And then they get frustrated because they say the board is not doing what they're supposed to do. Well, it's like getting a job and nobody gives you a job description or orientation or anything. And so I'm like, yeah, you're going to get what you put into it. So anyway, that's my soapbox. That's not what I wrote about. But this is my blog summary. So there are a lot of nonprofit missions out there, from youth development to feeding the hungry to housing the homeless, and the list goes on and on. But the one thing that they do have in common is they all have board of directors. So what are the primary functions of that board of directors? Let me say there are three primary functions of a board of directors. That's trusteeship, provide oversight, and ensure necessary resources. So around trusteeship, what the board is doing, they are safeguarding and managing the resources so that the nonprofit is accountable to the community. And that's one of their pivotal roles, is to make sure they maintain public trust. The board determines the nonprofit's vision, mission, and purpose. They make sure that the organization is undergoing a strategic plan. They also make sure that the staff is working in alignment with the vision and the mission and determining where the organization is going to go, and that it is something that is viable for the community and the client that they serve. And they set policies for the nonprofit operations, their service to their clientele, and any major programmatic thrust that the organization may have. And that's all done under the auspice of trusteeship. And so again, number one, trusteeship. That is one of the roles of the nonprofit board. Number two is to provide oversight. So when we're talking about providing oversight, what are we really talking about? Well, board members, you have to attend your board meetings. And not only do you have to attend your board meetings, you have to stay engaged and you have to provide leadership to the organization. Ultimately, the board is legally responsible for the nonprofit organization. And so the only way you're going to do that due diligence and make sure that everything is happening the way it's supposed to is by attending the board meetings and being updated on this information. And it's okay to ask questions if you don't understand during a board meeting. So the oversight responsibility, again, it's about legalities, and it's about ethical integrity, and it's about maintaining accountability. And in that, you have to establish a budget. I don't understand how nonprofits say, well, we don't have a budget. How can you function without a budget? You need to have a budget. You need to know what your projected revenues are, your projected expenses are, and work within those guidelines and trying to reach those goals. And that's what your board of director does. They make sure you have an established budget. It's also around oversight, determine and monitor strengthen the organization's programs and services, and of course support the executive director and review his or her performance. That is one of the key things around oversight. I don't know how many executive directors I talk to that haven't had a board evaluation. How can you know if you are doing what needs to be done without an evaluation? It's really unfair to the executive or the founder to not give them an evaluation, but at the same time, boards can be disgruntled about the performance of the executive or the founder. It makes for good business practice to have an evaluation. And I'm going to step on a soapbox outside of the blog to say that 501c3 is just a designation. It is still ultimately a business. And you do not check your business hat at the door as a board member once you start serving on a nonprofit board. The same tools and instruments that are in place for a for-profit business should be in place for a nonprofit business. And that includes evaluation of the CEO and having HR policies and all those things. So the last major role of the board of directors is ensuring necessary resources. The task of fundraising belongs primarily with the board, not the staff. Let me say that again. It belongs primarily with the board and not the staff. While the staff must be involved in this process, they have to support and they have to coordinate the funding activities. Their major role is to manage the organization's operation. So, to ensure necessary resources, the board must ensure adequate financial and physical resources, including raising and contributing money. That's raising and contributing money. They also need to enhance the organization's public standing. They are charged with selecting who the executive director will be. They manage the assets effectively of the organization and strengthen the board by recruiting and orienting members and assessing their performance as well. So, having said all that, the board is responsible for recruiting the members that come onto the board, but not only recruiting those members, but as a whole evaluating how that board is performing. So that is key to ensure that you are performing at peak level. You also have to evaluate how the board is doing as a whole and how individuals are doing as a whole. And if they're not doing what they need to as a board member, you plaque them and thank them. You basically give them a plaque, say thank you for your service, and you get someone on that's going to do what needs to be done. So, of course, ensuring the necessary resources, it's going to vary depending on the size of the organization and the needs of the organization. But regardless, fundraising should be front and center for all boards of directors, regardless of what industry that nonprofit is in. And I would close by saying that you have to remember that a great board of directors is critical to the success of any nonprofit organization. Without a clear understanding of their roles and responsibilities, a board can go down a rabbit hole of micromanaging or not managing at all. And either way, it's going to create chaos. So just keep that in mind. And again, you can read the full blog on www.supportingworldhope.com. And if you are watching this on Facebook, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. It is right there in the corner, little red button, to know the next time that I upload a video and that you can watch it. Again, I do invite, and I'm going to remind everybody about my Facebook group. It's Nonprofit Professionals Exchange. I go live in there once a week where I provide coaching to any question that anyone may have. So if you are not a member of my group, I encourage you to do so. And that is it for tonight, party people. This is blog number 54. 54, I believe. Yes, 54. This is blog number 54. For 54 weeks, I have been consistently blogging, and that is the name of the game, consistency. That's what I tell my nonprofit clients, and that's what I tell myself. You have to be consistent. So good night and be blessed, and I hope to see you next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.